Representative Evan Goyke. This is the first video of what I hope to be many from my dining room. First and foremost, before we go into the policy we want to discuss, I just want to say COVID-19 is real. This is a pandemic. I'm asking everyone to take it deadly serious. Me and my family are at home. We're avoiding going out. Please, please, please do everything you can now to stop the spread of this virus. The efforts that we do now will pay off in our faster recovery from this pandemic. If we don't take action now, it is going to last longer and be more painful for our friends, loved ones, and neighbors. So please take this serious. This first video is about unemployment compensation in Wisconsin. This is a law that we've had on the books for more than 80 years that helps workers that are displaced through no fault of their own. This is just a primer and a bit of education and background for people to get to know what exists in Wisconsin. It is in no way legal advice. I am not able to tell you whether or not you qualify for unemployment benefits, but this video will contain information to help answer some of those questions, and it will provide resources of where to go to get affirmative answers for you or your loved ones on whether you qualify for benefits in this time of hardship. So follow along. There's going to be a couple of slides about unemployment compensation in Wisconsin and some changes that Governor Tony Evers has made to this program recently to accommodate the economic displacement from the COVID-19 pandemic. So stay tuned, follow along. And again, my office is available, 608-266-0645. My staff and I are each at home, but we're still answering phone calls and emails. So use me as a resource as well as some of the resources contained in this video. Thank you. As I mentioned before, this presentation can't determine whether you individually qualify for unemployment compensation, but these are some important resources. First, you'll see on the screen a website for the Department of Workforce Development, dwd.wisconsin.gov/UI, and then you'll see the phone number 414-435-7069. And under that phone number, please note the times that the Department of Workforce Development are available for calls. These are resources for you to find if you individually are eligible for benefits. If you have a question about yourself or a loved one of whether you're eligible, send people to this website or this phone number. You'll often hear unemployment compensation also being referred to as unemployment insurance. In Wisconsin, they're the same thing. We used to call unemployment compensation unemployment insurance. You'll see here also that we were the first state in the country to adopt this policy back in 1932. And for my political nerds and addicts out there, we're going to do another video later on the political history and some of the fight that happened to make Wisconsin the first state in the country to adopt unemployment insurance. In response to the COVID-19 epidemic, Governor Evers has signed an executive order making a couple of changes to unemployment compensation in Wisconsin. The governor has waived the work search requirement and has deemed all unemployed workers in Wisconsin automatically, quote unquote, available for work. So those are two of the eligibility criteria that we reviewed in a previous slide. The governor has also asked the legislature to repeal the 1 week waiting period so that unemployed eligible employees can get the unemployment benefits sooner. And then the last piece to pay attention to is that there is a federal unemployment system as well as our state system, and changes made by Congress may trigger additional changes in our unemployment compensation benefit rates and duration. So stay tuned for changes from Washington, D.C., because they may change or interact with the state system as well. Not everyone is eligible for unemployment compensation. You'll see on this slide some of the criteria for people to be eligible, and you'll notice that Governor Evers, through his executive order, has suspended some of these requirements. Important to note that these are individual, fact-specific determinations. I just want to repeat again that contacting the Department of Workforce Development, applying online, or calling the phone number provided is really the only way that you can determine whether you're eligible or not. But here are some of the broadest definitions of who's eligible for unemployment compensation in Wisconsin currently. The next slide is who's not eligible, who is ineligible for unemployment compensation. First and foremost, if you were fired, discharged, terminated for some kind of misconduct or substantial fault. The second is if you quit, if you were voluntarily terminated or left your work. And then the next is important. This is that suitable work exists, but that the individual is not taking advantage of that work or refusing to do that work. You may be ineligible. And that definition of what is suitable work can change over time. Important here also is that if you're unable or unavailable for work, that you're not eligible for unemployment compensation. And then there are a number of additional potential disqualifiers that, again, individual facts will matter, but these are some of the major categories that make people ineligible for unemployment compensation. Most important thing I can tell you in this slide is that employees, those people that are out of work, have to begin the process. You're not going to get a call from the Department of Workforce Development asking you to apply. You've got to take this initiative and make the call and trigger the process. DWD will make the determination if you're eligible and what the benefit rate will be, which we're going to get to in a second. And then your employer has the ability to dispute eligibility and rate. And then important here also under Wisconsin law that all workers, employees that are eligible, even once you're said yes, you're eligible for unemployment compensation, that there's a 1 week waiting period before benefits are actually sent to you and you can start receiving the benefit. If you're determined to be eligible for unemployment compensation, the next step is to determine what the benefit rate will be. Benefits are paid out on a weekly basis, and the Department of Workforce Development uses 4 of the 5 previous quarters of earnings and wages. You can see that the weekly benefit rate is capped at 4% of wages paid during that quarter. So not 4% of your paycheck, but 4% of a quarter's worth of paychecks for the quarter that you made the highest amount of wages. The minimum amount is $54 a week. The maximum amount is $370 a week. And you can see under the regular program, this benefit can last a total of 26 weeks, but that can be extended under conditions of extreme financial hardship. Thank you for following along. Again, here, this slide has the contact information for the Department of Workforce Development, as well as my contact information. Call the DWD for eligibility questions. It's imperative that your friends, yourself, your loved ones that are unemployed because of COVID-19 begin the process themselves. The employee has to take that first step. That's really important to emphasize. This program is created for difficult economic times like the one we may be headed for, so please take advantage of it. Reach out to me if you have any additional questions, concerns, or trouble getting answers from the Department of Workforce Development. Stay tuned for additional videos. We're going to try to take this opportunity while we're home to make sure that you have as much information as you possibly can that I can possibly provide so that you can take advantage of state programs like unemployment compensation that are in existence for times like these. Stay home, stay safe, and look for further updates. Thank you.